Hello everyone, welcome to the class today. Thanks for joining in. The class today we're going to be looking at hands and wrists. So I hope that you're all doing well, hope that all is good with you and your families. Thank you for all the lovely messages and all the donations that we've received. We really do appreciate that. And for those of you that know, Richard's beard is coming on really well. I know a few of you have seen the photos. All right then, we're going to start today's class. So you won't need a belt for this class, but you might need a blanket. If you've got a block or anything that resembles a block, then grab that. And then once you're ready, come back to your mat. We will start off lying down, and then I'll talk a little bit about what we're going to think about in the class. So take your time to come all the way down to the floor. And just choose whether you need to bend your legs today. If you need that extra support for your back, then just let your legs bend. If it does feel okay, you might allow the legs to lengthen out. And just take this moment out of your day now just to settle in with the body. Just letting your shoulders just relax. Just encourage just a feeling of releasing and letting go into the body. And you can let your eyes close or just keeping a very soft gaze to encourage the face to relax. And just start to focus on drawing a bit more attention inwards. Just take a moment just to pause and notice how you feel, how the body is feeling physically. Just notice for yourself whether you're holding any tension anywhere, just be aware of that. And if you notice that, just see if you can soften, especially in the places such as your shoulders, the face. Let the tummy relax. And just feel your grounding points where your body is touching the earth right now. For a moment, just take your focus to your hands and your wrists and notice what they feel like. If you can, just keep your attention here. And you might notice a bit of tingling that goes on or a bit of warmth that you might be feeling in your hands and your wrists. So the sequence, the poses today, the movements we're going to do is going to focus on strengthening up the wrists and the hands, but also getting a nice release, taking them in a different range of movement. So a lot of our activities that we do, it might feel that these poses might make us feel a little bit stiff in your hands and the wrists, such as when we're typing on the computer, when we're maybe on our phones doing movements with the hands on the phones and the position that your hands stay in. Even things such as if you do a lot of craft activities, if you do stuff such as sewing and knitting, that you might find that you feel a bit of stiffness around this area. So we're going to get a really nice range of movement into those areas today. Just allow yourself to connect to your breath. And notice what the breath feels like. And just start to watch, observe, follow your natural inhales and your natural exhales. And just feeling more present with the body and the breath. And then if it feels okay for you, you're going to take your right hand and you're going to place it, just resting it on the belly area, the abdomen. And taking your left hand and taking it into the centre of your chest. Let your shoulders relax. Don't let any tension be here. Let the hands soften as well. Just feel the warmth of your hands touching into those areas of the body. And then as we breathe in, we're going to allow that breath to come in through the nose. Nice, long, slow breath. And as you breathe out, same thing with the nose, breathing out through the nostril, nice, long, slow breath out. We're going to continue to breathe this way and just start to feel the breath rising as you breathe in from the belly area all the way to the top hand. And as you breathe out, feeling that breath moving all the way back down towards your belly. And you do that a few more moments, nice, long, slow breaths. And at the top of each inhale and each exhale, just see if you can pause at that top of the breath before you take that long, slow breath out. I'm just going to stay here for a few more rounds of breath. Just feeling those places where your hands are, encouraging those areas in the body to soften and relax. And feel that you're drawing more attention inwards by placing our hands here and connecting to that breath a bit more. This last couple of breaths. Now, to make this your last rounds, and then once you've done, just let your hands release, let them relax down by the sides of the body again. Notice maybe in that short space of time whether you just feel that sense of calmness and focus and being mindful and present now that you've generated with the breath that you're going to take into the rest of your practice with you. And allow yourself to take a stretch with the arms, so you can keep your legs bent still, or if you need to, you can lengthen out your legs at this point if they're not already out. And have a good stretch from here. So stretching your arms away from you for a moment, stretching into the leg, feeling all that space that you can create in stretching, pressing your heels away. And then breathing out, allow your arms to come down by the sides of the body. I'm going to start off again, a little bit more breathing work and some movements with the arms and the hands. So as you inhale, we're going to lift up the arms, palms facing towards each other, fingers up towards the sky. And then as you breathe out, allow your arms to extend, come all the way behind you. And then as you inhale, we'll raise the arms again. So fingertips are up towards the sky, palms facing in. And as you breathe out, resting the arms down by the sides of the body. So we'll do that a couple more times. Inhale to lift, breathing out, releasing the arms behind. Inhale to lift back up, breathing out, releasing the arms down by the sides of the body. Do one more. Inhale to lift, breathing out, release the arms behind you. Inhale to lift, and then breathing out, bringing the arms all the way back down. And I'll reach the arms behind you again. One more stretch from here. If it's okay in your hands and your wrists to do so, you're going to interlock your fingers. You're going to press your palms away from you and just have a nice stretch out. Feel the fingers getting a little bit of a workout from here. Just feel that opening up maybe into the front of the body. And then release the fingers, breathing out, bring the arms all the way back down. You're going to let your legs bend. And just let your knees hug in towards the chest. Going to reach round, hold around the thighs or behind the back of the legs. Just take a moment to allow your back to release by drawing the knees towards you, allowing your shoulders to relax. You might stay here for the next couple of breaths, or it might feel okay just to take a rock from side to side from here. And then when you're ready to do so, we're going to make our way up into a seated position. So you can either rock backwards and forwards or just simply drop your knees to one side, coming all the way up. And you're going to just get yourself into a comfortable position. We're going to do a bit of arm and hand movement again. So choose one that works for you. If you need to, you can always sit on a block or a blanket if that aids your seated posture from here. So take a moment just to sit up nice and tall. Spine length, and that's the most important that I always think that you need when you come to seated. Don't be too concerned with what the legs are doing. Just think about one that's going to lift your posture. Just for a moment, you can just rest the hands down on the knees, back of the hands on the knees, let the fingers relax. Maybe just closing the eyes for a moment and just take an awareness again into your hands and your wrists. And just think about, just have an appreciation of your hands and your wrists from here and what they're needed to do, what you need in your everyday life to use your hands and the wrists. Often we forget to sometimes appreciate the body. We often only think about it sometimes when things are not working properly or where we got pain, when we got discomfort, and then we might moan at the body. But it's nice just to think about appreciating our hands for what they can do for us. And then slowly let your eyes blink open from here. So we're going to just do some work into the hands and the wrists to get a bit of range and some movement into them, taking them different ways. And they're going to be really good warm-ups as well for some of the postures for later on. So all you're going to do first, Anjali Mudra, which is where we bring the palms together. And you bring your hands, we'll bring them in towards the chest, the heart centre. And if you can, spread the hands from here. Be aware of your shoulders. Don't let your shoulders lift up. So moving your shoulders back and down from here. You can either do it with your eyes closed or a soft gaze. Take awareness into the hands and feel the right hand pressing into the left. So the left hand receives the right. And then think about it the opposite way. The right hand presses into the left and that hand receives that hand. So just feeling a bit of warmth and energy from here. Good. And then just soften, just release a little bit from here. So now we're going to lift our hands up. We're going to take them to our third eye. And again, you can press into your hands again from here. So you start to really work the hands. Try not to let the shoulders lift too much. Inhale as you breathe out, just soften and release that pressure a bit. If it's okay this time, you're going to lift the arms up above the head. We haven't got to straighten them, just keep a bit of a bend into the arm. And if it's good, press into the hands again. Even weight into each hand. Try and relax your shoulders back and down. And then breathing out, soften and release. Last bit, we'll take your hands onto your heads from here. And you're going to press into the hands from here. Shoulders relaxed. Don't let any tension come into those areas. And then soften and release. Just move your hands all the way back down towards your chest, the heart centre. So do a nice movement from here that's going to release into the wrists. So if it feels good, what you're going to do is take the back of the hands together from here. So the back of the hands come together. And you're going to slowly turn your fingers in towards you. And then slowly bringing them out to the front. And then you release them again. So you start to turn and then come back to the front. So a nice releasing movement into the wrists. Just try and slow down your breath from here. Lovely. So it's a nice range of movement that we can get from here. Taking those back of the hands together. And then remembering what way you went, you're going to go the other way this time. Hopefully you're getting on all right with this one. Sometimes this causes a little bit of confusion. Once you work out what you need to do, it feels a really nice releasing movement from here. Try and relax your shoulders as much as you can. Just enjoy. Take a few really nice, easy breaths. If you're familiar with that move now, let your eyes close. And feel that you're creating some space, some release into your wrists from here. And make this your last one and just slowly release. You might feel that created a bit of movement around your shoulders, so just release off the shoulders, a couple of shoulder rolls back and a couple of shoulder rolls forward. So at this point, if you're not comfortable seated, by all means release the legs. From here, we're going to interlock the fingers and you're going to press your palms away from you. And take a moment just to think about your posture. So sitting up nice and tall. And then lifting up the arms if that works. And they haven't got to be straight. You might keep a bit of a bend. And inhale, and as you breathe out, bring your hands on top of the head. And then as you inhale, lifting up the palms again. And as you breathe out, bring your hands on top of the head. One more. So you're going to lift up this time. We're going to hold it here. If it feels okay, we're going to work a twist from here. So make sure that it's coming from the torso. So you're going to breathe out. You're going to twist towards that right side from here. You don't need to go too far. And then coming back to the centre. Inhale. And as you breathe out, we'll go over towards that left side. And then coming back to the centre. Slowly and mindfully release the hands. You're going to move your fingers along one. It's one that we've done a few times. It might feel very different as we do this with the hands moved along one. So the fingers move along one, unfamiliar clasp. We'll take the arms out again. We'll lift up the arms again. Remember, you can take a bend into it if you need to. Inhale, and as you breathe out, hands on top of the head. Inhale, we'll press up with the arms. Breathing out, hands on top of the head. Inhale, we'll lift up, we'll keep lifted again. We'll do that same twist, make sure it comes from your torso. So draw your navel in, twisting towards that right side. And then inhale, coming back to the centre. And then breathing out, we'll go over towards that left side. And then coming back to the centre. Slowly releasing your hands from here, releasing the fingers. And just take a few shoulder rolls back and shoulder rolls forward. And then just release out of your seated position from here. So you remove the block if you were sitting on the block. And you can just allow yourself just to lengthen out the legs as we sat for a while. So just let your knees release from here. And then you're going to make your way into an all fours position, and we'll do a bit of work from here. So at this point, you can grab your belt a blanket if you need your blanket from here. So nice spread hands. So I know there's a few of you that find knee work a little bit uncomfortable if it's not possible as well. You can always bring yourself, so you come towards the wall. You can either do it standing or seated so that you can still do a little bit of wrist work from here. So with the practice today, just be careful with your hands and the wrists as well. So if you've got anything that's going on, any injuries, any real arthritis that's really causing you pain, you might want to modify these slightly, but a lot of these movements, they can start to help if you've got carpal tunnel syndrome. Sometimes some of these movements can help. You're just going to have to be quite aware that you're going to work with something that feels good for you. So wrists underneath the shoulders or slightly forward if that was a better option. Knees underneath the hips. And then you're just going to think about what's going on with the hands first of all. You want to spread your fingers as much as you can. That's something that I probably say in every class because it really, really is important. So there's an energy lock that we can work from here in the hands, and it's our Hasta Bandha. So what you want to do to create that is you want to press down with the hands and think about pressing each of the knuckles down from here. And you want to think about being able to create more weight around your base of your index finger and your base of the thumb. And you might even think about the middle part of your hand just lifting up slightly. If you imagine a suction cup, something like that. Good. Just pause for a moment. Just feel that you draw up some energy. And then just soften and release. We'll do a couple of cat stretches while we're here just to warm up the back. So inhale, lift your tailbone, lift the front of the body, lift the head. And then as you breathe out, round over, let the head relax, gaze back through the legs. Come through again, tailbone lifts, front of the body and your head lifts. Then breathing out, rounding over, let the neck relax, gaze back through the legs. Do one more. Inhale, lifting up, head lifts last. And then breathing out, rounding over from here. And then coming back to the all fours. Going to sink back into child's pose. Going to think about the arms and the hands in this one. So you might take your knees just slightly wider from here rather than bringing them too close together. You're going to stretch the arms out in front. So if you do need to soften the arms or make it more softer, you can do that. That's absolutely fine. But if it does work for you, the option today would be to spread the hands, shoulder width apart. You extend them out in front. You press into the hands and your arms and your forearms, they lift away from the floor. So you get a really nice stretch, but you're working into the hands. So you might find that if you've done that one, that you might need a bit of support for the head, or ears might be in line with the shoulders, or you might even be able to take your heads down to the floor. And just pause for a moment. Think about this spreading into your hands. If you're feeling it too strong, you haven't got to stay in any of these postures too long. You might only stay a couple of breaths and then need to soften, and that's absolutely fine. Just a few more lovely breaths. And then soften. You might bring them in a bit closer and let the hands relax. So when we work into the hands and the wrists, just stay into your child's pose for a few more breaths. When we work into the hands and the wrists, if we can strengthen up those areas, that often will affect maybe then feeling you can strengthen up higher up. It strengthens more into the forearms, and then that gives more support into your shoulders. Everything is connected. So slowly lifting the head, and then bring yourself back and just come back all the way to your all fours position. We're going to come into our downward dog, or you can swap it to puppy pose today if that felt a better option. But in today's practice, we're going to think about that Hasta Bandha, thinking about pressing more into your base of your index finger and the base of your thumb. So if you're coming up for full downward dog, tuck the toes, lifting up, and then we'll press back into the heels from here. And if you're feeling quite tight around the muscles around the back of the leg, feel free to take a few moments to just walk out the heels, walk out the legs to stretch the muscles. And then releasing some weight back towards the heels and thinking about pressing more into the base of your index finger, the base of your thumb. And this relieves some of the pressure off your wrists, which often in yoga, especially when you start first, you might find that too much weight goes into the wrists and you don't really want that to happen. And then slowly come back to your hands and the knees from here. We're going to do a bit more into downward dog, but we'll come to the floor first of all, lying down, just to do a bit of back bending work, thinking about the hands again. So just bring yourself all the way down, lower down to the floor and coming down to your tummies from here. We're going to work into Sphinx pose today. You're going to think about spreading the hands. So nice wide arms, hands going to be forward in line roughly with your cheeks from here. You're going to separate the feet slightly, press your feet down, engage the legs. And inhale, lifting up into your Sphinx pose. If you're feeling any problems in the neck today, then just look down from here. If it does work, you can always lift the chest slightly further. And think about this really nice spreading that you've got on the hands. And there's not actually too much weight into the hands from here. There's not much really, so you can just think about really getting a good spreading from here. Stay there. If you're still in it for a couple of breaths, if you need to release sooner, then that is fine. And then breathing out, releasing all the way down. We're going to come into that one again. It's a bit of a yin variation, this one. So you can either stay into Sphinx, or if it works, we're going to press up into Seal. So I'll show you as we come up. So you're going to lift up from here. You can keep it nice and low. Or if it works, pressing into the hands. So you lift your arms away from the floor. And I always quite like, it feels quite nice just to turn your hands out slightly from here. And you've got that really nice spreading into the hands. You might find that you only hold it a couple of breaths and you might come down to the forearms. Just thinking about just getting this really spread into the fingers and the hands. And then if you went into your Seal pose, you're going to come back to the forearms, down to Sphinx, and then come back down to the floor. Hands underneath the shoulders, press back into the all fours from here. So we're going to do a little bit of strengthening into the wrists, and we'll either do it through downwards dog, or if it's a better option for you, you can always do these movements through your forearms as well. Think about spreading the hands. That's absolutely fine. So we're going to tuck the toes, lifting up if you're coming up into your full downward dog or staying in your variation of downward dog. And then if it works from here, you're going to extend your right leg behind you. Let's give it a nice lift. Try not to let your hip lift too much. You're going to bend that knee. If it feels good, draw your knee through from here. So some of us might keep it further back. If it works for the wrists, we can come forward. So you take your shoulders over the wrists and then you extend back up. So we can do that, lifting the leg. And we'll do that another time. So we'll bend that knee, we'll bring that knee through. This time, if it works, you can bring it to the outside of that right leg. And then extending up from here. And we'll take that foot down to the floor. Release your wrists any time that you need to join again when it's ready. When it's okay, left leg's going to lift this time. Make sure the hip doesn't lift. You're going to bend that knee. We're going to draw that knee through. If it feels good, you can come up onto the toes. You can bring your shoulders forward of your wrists. And then lifting up again. We'll do that other one where we take it to the outside of that knee. So coming forward. If it works, you can bring it to the outside of that knee. You can bring some weight forward. Think about your Hasta Bandha in the hands. So think about pressing a bit more into those knuckles. And then lifting back up. Releasing that foot and coming back down to the floor. You know, sit back into your child's pose from here. And then just take a fist with your both hands from here. You can take your thumbs so they come in that fist. And then you can make a few circles from here. Just to release a little bit off your wrists. Take a few nice easy breaths. Circling in that other direction. And then release, hands either side of the head, pressing up and then coming back to the all fours. So we'll do the last bit onto the floor before we come up to standing. So we'll just work a little bit into our plank pose from here. So you've got the option of doing your half plank pose where you bring your knees just a little bit further back of your hips from here, and wrists underneath shoulders, drawing into the navel, and you bring your shoulders forward of the wrist, but you want to draw into the navel. If you're working your full plank pose, tucking the toes under from here, shoulders forward of the wrist, keep pressing out through the heels from here, making sure that you're not scrunching the head so the crown of the head is just extending forward. And then you can press back into downward dog if that feels good. And bending the legs and slowly start walking your feet towards your hands. Hands on the hips, and then we'll lift up and we'll come all the way up to standing. Shoulders nice and relaxed. Taking a mountain posture now. So make sure that the feet, we keep them a little way apart if that is a good option. Just to bring even weight in that feeling of feeling grounded. Shoulders, move them up to the ears, and then roll your shoulders back and down, and let your hands, your fingers just extend down towards the floor. Think about your palms that are just gently half turning forward from here. Just take a moment, just be aware of your hands, bring some attention into your hands. Notice what they're feeling, especially after that strengthening posture that we did before. And then slowly start to release. So we're going to work into, we're just going to come to a nice warrior just to work the arms from here. So we're going to open out the feet from here. You're going to step your feet nice and wide into your warrior two position, hands on the hips. You're going to turn your right foot all the way out, left foot forward, raise the arms up, palms down, shoulders relaxed, gaze towards that right side. Inhale, and as you breathe out, we're going to bend into that right leg. You're going to press back into that back foot from here. Just for a moment, let your palms turn up towards the sky. And just be aware of your fingers and your hands, what they're doing. And then allowing your hands, your palms to turn back down. Shoulders nice and relaxed. Think about today, relaxing the shoulders more, but trying to stretch out more with your fingers. You can keep the fingers together or apart. I always prefer to keep mine apart from here. And then slowly release, hands on the hips. Lengthen that leg, feet to the front. We'll do exactly the same the other side. So left leg's going to turn out. Right foot's to the front. Going to raise the arms, gazing over towards that left side. Inhale, and as you breathe out, we're going to bend that left leg from here. Going to press back into that back foot. Nice even weight on both of your legs. So palms lift up, let your palms lift up towards the sky. Just notice what that feels. I always feel a bit of shaking as I do that when I lift the palms up. And then you're going to turn your palms, so your palms face back down. Think about today, relax your shoulders more, but reach out more with the fingers. You've got this really nice feeling of expansion into this palms. And then slowly releasing your hands back to the hips. Lengthen that leg, feet to the front from here. And just step your feet or heel toe your feet back together. You can keep your feet hip distance apart. We're going to take a forward fold. We're going to do another nice movement for the arms by releasing the arms behind you. Interlocking the fingers. If it doesn't work, hands can stay on the hips. Lifting up your chest. If it's good, gently rolling your shoulders back from here. Just send a couple of breaths, feeling your chest opening up. You can move the hands away if it feels good. And then softening the knees. We're going to take a forward fold from here. So starting to release over. You might stay halfway. You might come forward more. You can think about releasing the head. Hands might come to the lower back, or you might take the arms up and over from here. Just spend a couple of breaths here. And then release the hands. Hands come to your lower back, releasing the arms. We can either fold, catch hold of opposite elbows, or if your hands reach the floor today, you can allow yourself to bring the back of the hands down to the floor and keep your fingers pointing in just to relax your shoulders a bit from here. And move your head to make sure you've got no tension into the head. And then slowly, hands on the hips, we'll lift up. And we'll come all the way up to standing. So do a couple more postures from standing. We'll come to the front of the mat and we're going to work either a lunge position, high lunge, or a warrior one. So we're going to be stepping back with your right foot from here. So you might be grounding that back foot and bending into that front leg. Those you can take a wider stance. If it does work, you can come up onto the toes, so that the toes point in and you can lift the heel if you're high lunge. If that doesn't work, just take the other foot back down. You want to ground through both feet, drawing into the navel. And from here, we're going to take a mudra. Hand gestures are great for working the wrists. It's going to be Padma mudra, so the lotus. Heels of the hands come together. Little fingers come together, sides of the hands. And your thumbs and the sides of the hands come together. And your fingers open up from here. And you're going to take the hands in towards your heart centre from here. So the lotus flower, this resembles the lotus flower that grows, that rises above there, the muddy water that lies beneath it. So knowing that there's always room to grow. So as you inhale, you're going to lift up from here. So you're going to lift into the arms. If it works, you can lengthen into that front leg if you've come into that lunge position. And then as you breathe out, you can bend that leg. You can bring your hands back and you're going to make a bud with your finger by sealing the fingers so they come together to making a bud. We'll do that one more time. So open up, inhale, lifting up. You can lengthen that leg. You can still lengthen that leg if you're in that warrior position. And then breathing out, coming back, sealing that hands back to that bud. And release your hands, step your back foot in from here. And we'll do exactly the same on the other side. So you're going to step back with your left leg from here. So we're either going to do it in that warrior or your lunge. Try and ground down with both feet first of all. So you've got a nice steady base to work with, draw into the navel. Again, we'll work that Padma, the lotus mudra. Heels of the hands come together. Little fingers, sides come. Same with your thumbs, they come together. The other fingers open up into that shape of a lotus flower. You can bring it in towards the heart centre. So you're going to inhale, you're going to lift up if it's good. Lengthening the leg, rising that above your head, that mudra. And as you breathe out, bending into that front leg as you start to come back down, making a bud with the fingers, joining the fingers together, hands in towards your chest. One more time, inhale, opening up, pressing up, lifting. And then breathing out, bending into that leg. Halfway, you start to seal that bud again and bringing the hands in towards the chest. Slowly release the hands on the hips, and we'll bring the back foot all the way into the front. So you might have felt that on the wrist. It's a really nice one as well that connects to our heart centre. You're going to come to the front of the mat. We're going to do a little bit of work into balancing from here. So nice, one of my yoga frogs is demonstrating a tree posture. We're going to be doing that a little bit different with the arms though. So we're going to do our Virasana. We're going to add some arm movements while we do it. It's a really good one to release into the wrists. If you know you've got tight wrists, this is going to be great. But it also gives you something you really got to focus. Your mind can't be elsewhere in this one. If you go by wall, just do the movement with one hand if you want one hand there. So where it's going to go onto your left foot, and we're going to pick up the right foot, and we're going to open out that hip, and we're going to bring it in for our Virasana tree pose. So either heel in, toes down if you need a bit of support, or taking the leg higher up. Those that you're able to, bring it back, lift it, open up the foot, take hold of that ankle, and you can take it onto that inside of that leg from here. So the arm's going to release down by the sides. Remember, if you're holding against the wall, just doing it with one hand from here. So what we're going to do from here is going to stay nice and lifted with our hands. We're going to start to make some fists where you close the hands, but your thumbs are on the, where your fingers are the outside. So you start to do that and you start to lift all the way up. So the arms come above you. And then you still do the same, making these fists coming all the way back down from here. And then we're going to do another one where we're going to alternate between doing your fists when they come into the palms, you curl the fingers in, and then outside. So it's an in, then out, in, out, in, out. So doing it all the way up, and then coming all the way back from here. And these are really, really good movements to release into the wrists. Slowly release from here, taking that foot back down. Release the legs if you need to. We'll repeat the same on the other side. All your weight going onto that right foot, and you're going to lift your left foot. Maybe repeating whatever you took, whatever position you took on that other side. So finding your balance first of all. We're going to do those same movements again. So you're going to be nice and lifted. So you're going to start to lift all the way up from here. Good. And then you're going to come all the way back down. Good. And you can do that alternate movement, which is thumbs in and thumbs onto the outside as you make your fists from here all the way up. You have to really think about this one from here, and then coming all the way down from here. If you can, we're going to do the one where we did at the beginning where you just have your thumbs to the outside, but you're going to not do it at the same speed with the hand. So one hand's going to open first and then the other one. So all the way, you really got to think as you do that one. Good. And then all the way back out, coming all the way back down. So great movements for helping the wrists. Lovely. And slowly releasing that foot, bringing that foot back down to the floor, and just take a few breaths. So I got those movements from one of the workshops, British Wheel of Yoga workshops that we did with Billy Doyle. And we did that one, and everyone said at the end, you know, what was the aim of doing that? Was it to create something really amazing in the body? And he was like, no, just to get these really good movements in the wrist and to mainly help you focus. So these are really good just to add into the postures. We're going to come down to the floor from here. So just come to the front of the mat, take a few nice easy breaths. You might have forgot to breathe quite smoothly when you was in that balance posture. So just take a few nice easy breaths from here. Then you're going to raise the arms, going to lift up. You can look up if it's good to gaze up from here. Then as you breathe out, coming forward, releasing over your legs from here. Just catch hold of opposite elbows. We haven't done any side bend stretches, so just hold the elbows and take a nice sway over to one side, stretching into that opposite side of the body. And then coming back to the centre and then swaying over towards that other side. Just do that a couple more times just to get this really nice stretch into your side body from here. And then coming all the way down to the floor, coming down to your hands and the knees. So we'll work out posture now that's going to create all that nice wrist strengthening and movement that you've been working into. It's going to be our side plank pose. So for those of you, we've done it a few times in class. If you're unable to do it on the knees, we did look at variation against the wall. Feel free to use that variation if that works for you. So we'll start off, you might need a little bit of padding for your knees. Be just careful of your wrist, do whatever's going to feel good for you. So what we're going to do first is going to come to your all fours position from here. We're going to extend your right leg out behind you and just press into that heel. And then be careful of that knee of your left foot. If it works, you're going to turn that foot so the foot comes behind. Your left hand stays down to the floor. You ground your left foot down to the floor. Right hand's going to come onto the hip from here. And you're going to slowly start to lift up from here. If it works, you can extend up into the arm. So I might have got some of those movements, left and right. It's a little bit muddled up from there. You're going to think about not releasing right down into that hand. Think about that hasta bandha, that energy lock from here. And then slowly releasing back down from here, bringing yourself back down to the floor. So you're going to either repeat that again. We'll do the same sides first of all so it doesn't get too confusing. So we'll do a little bit more work into that. So we're either going to have another second round of that, or if it works, we can make it more into another variation of the side plank pose, would be to tuck your toes under from here, coming into your plank pose. So you can bring some weight back, navel draws in. And then if it works, you drop your feet over to that left side. You can pick up the right foot and you might place that in front of that foot. You can take the hand on the hip. If it works, you can extend up with that arm. So if we're repeating the first action, absolutely fine. And then coming all the way back down. You might work through plank again, and then bringing yourself back to your hands and the knees. Have a quick release if you need to, and then we'll repeat that one more time. If you've had enough as well, just rest. So if you want to work through your knee variation, or if you want to work through your plank variation, you can do that. Dropping the knees to that side. This time you've either got that option of stepping that foot forward, or you can either just let your feet, go where they naturally go, or you can line them up so the heels line up, stack on top of each other. You can draw into the navel, you can lift up from here, you can extend up with that arm. Hopefully I'm not going to collapse and knock my frogs over. And then slowly start to release down, coming back to your all fours. Just take a moment to sink back into child's pose and have a release with your wrists. Nice long slow breaths. And then we're just going to work that one more onto the other side. So this time it's going to be if I go this side, then you can see me. So we'll do the first one first of all. The left leg's going to extend behind and press into that heel. If it works, you can swivel onto that knee so that foot of your right foot faces back, planting down with your left foot. Your hands can come onto the hip. You can lift up from here. If it feels good, lifting up with that top one. Thinking about that hasta bandha. So try to think about not collapsing into that wrist, that you're really working that hand, that energy up. And then releasing down. Carefully bring that knee back. So you can do another option, you can do a second round of that one. Or you can work into extending that leg out and coming into your plank pose from here. You can swivel, so turning onto the feet to that left side. Your left foot can plant in front of you. Your left hand can come onto the top, can lift up. So with that foot that's pressing down, it just gives you a little bit more stability. And slowly coming back down. Taking a moment just to rest back to the knees. If you're okay, we'll do one more. We can go for that third variation if it worked, or one of the earlier ones, absolutely fine. Tucking the toes under, lifting up, pressing into the heels. So you're going to swivel, it might swivel to that left side. You can either keep the feet where they are, or you can line up the heels if it works. Try to draw into the navel. Shoulder moves back and we're lifting that arm up. Keep breathing. And then slowly coming back, bringing your knees back, bringing the feet to the floor. Take a few moments, child's pose. Release your wrists if you need to from here. And then we've just got time for one counter pose before we rest onto the floor. So when you're ready, sitting yourself up. So we're just going to do a nice bit. It is wrist work, but it's going to be a nice bit that's going to open up into the front of the body. So when you do side plank pose, it is a lot of strength that you create around your shoulders, but you want something now that's going to reverse and open up. So reverse tabletop. You're going to take your feet hip distance apart. You're going to drop your hands behind you, so fingers pointing in. So it's enough so you can take some weight back from here. And this might be enough for you, just lifting the chest in this lovely position from here without even going anymore. If you do need to turn wrists out to the side, that's a nice option if it's not going to work for your wrists this way. If you can take it anymore, then you can feel free to lift the bottom away from the floor. You can work it here, or you can start to lift up further so your thighs become parallel. Be careful of the head. You can either just tuck the chin in or allow your head to release back from here. Take a few nice, easy breaths. And if you've lifted up your head, if you took your head back, tuck your chin in first and then slowly come back down to the floor. We're going to roll yourself down from here, so grab anything that you need, anything that's warm up. You're going to reach the arms out, you're going to draw into the navel, and you're going to slowly roll back down to the floor. You're going to take your knees into the chest from here, and just for a moment, just let the back release a bit more by pressing it in towards the earth, rocking from side to side. And then releasing the legs, taking the feet to the floor, allowing the arms to release. If the back allows you to do so, allow your legs to lengthen out. If it's okay, the palms start to half lift up towards the sky, and make sure they're not too close into the body. Move them away so that you get a nice feeling of just space between your arms and underneath the armpits. Let the eyes close. Let the legs just release. Let the feet roll out to the side if the legs are extended. And just simply start to be aware of how you're feeling. Shoulders stay nice and relaxed. If you can, just soften your front rib cage. Relax your tummy. Switch off all those muscles that you've been working, that you've been engaging in today's practice. Just come back to your natural breath. Just allow it to simply be as it is. Just don't change it, just simply follow it, be aware of it. If you can, just let your attention move to your hands now. And just keep that awareness for a few moments into the hands. Notice what you're feeling. Maybe you're aware of the wrists and the joints and the parts of the hands that you've worked in the practice today. Maybe you're aware of feeling some strength that you've brought into the hands. Maybe you're aware of some space that you're feeling. Our hands they seem to be, they're extensions of our heart. So you might just notice this warmth, this feeling of warmth and tingling as your attention just rests on your hands. Just feel that stillness, feel that peace that you've created as the body is just resting now. So if you wish to stay for a longer rest, then just pause the video and then just take as much rest as you need. But if you're ready to move up, just let the breath gently lengthen. Let your fingers, let your hands start to move. Really wiggle them and let them wake up. Same with your legs and the feet. Take a stretch from here. Raise the arms and just take a really good stretch. Arms coming down by the sides of the body. And then let your legs bend. Hugging the knees in towards the chest. Connect with the breath again. Feel that you're going to bring this peace, this sense of mindfulness into the rest of the day as we come up to seated. So when you're ready, roll over to the right side. Come all the way up into your easy seated position. Once you've found one that works, just find Anjali Mudra again. Palms together, pressing into the hands. Let your thumbs come in towards the chest, heart centre. Let them press in towards the sternum. Fingers spread and let your shoulders move back and down. Feel that warmth that you've created in your hands today. And feel that warmth that you feel in your heart centre. Feel these two things connect together. Connecting as well the left side of the body to the right side of the body. Just feel a feeling of feeling peace and calmness and balance. Just take a soft bow from here. Bow your head down towards the hands. Let the eyes slowly blink open. And as you inhale, lift your head, lift your heart. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me today. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day.